my honor to introduce to you my husband, Greg Varner.
Thank y'all for all coming out in this cold, and I'll keep it quick. I had a 4 or 5 page speech, and that's not a joke. My name is Greg Varner, and I'm excited to announce that I am a candidate for the Alabama State Senate District 13. Some people have asked me, Greg, why in the world do you want to get involved in politics? Sheriff Morris, when he found out, came up and said, Greg, so you think you're dirty enough and low enough and sorry enough to run for public office? Another lady said, Greg, you just need to run away. Well, it's a sad state when that's how we view politics and our elected officials. The sad part is it's probably an accurate description. Well, I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to prove to you that politics can and should be a noble profession. We know that we call our pastors and preachers, we call them ministers, and we say that they've been called into the ministry. What we sometimes forget is that in that same Bible, that civil leaders are called ministers. They're called ministers of justice. And so while it's separate and a distinct calling, I still believe that it has the same and equal specialty and, dare I say, holiness. And so it's with that vision of the office that I seek the stewardship of the public trust that I hope you'll grant to me. So why do I run? I run, number one, because it doesn't seem that other people are arguing and expressing our convictions and morals. There was a Christian statesman that wrote earlier in the century, when principles that run against your deepest convictions begin to win the day, then battle is your calling, and peace and leisure have become sin. You must, at the price of dearest peace, lay your convictions bare before friend and foe with all the fire of your faith. I also run because it doesn't seem that people look forward to the future generations. Thomas Jefferson wrote that a politician always looks to the next election, but a statesman looks to the next generation. I hope to portray a politics of trusteeship, that what we have now, we have to pass on to our children and to our grandchildren. We have to take actions now and believe in realities that will never bear fruit in our lifetimes. The policies we enact today have consequences generations from now. And so we have to be forward-looking in that. And I promise you, with every vote that I cast, every policy that I advocate, I will always keep in mind a jury of my grandchildren and a jury of my great-grandchildren. Will they condemn my action or my inaction, or will they say that I was faithful to the calling? I believe the greater things are yet to come in Alabama. However, before we can get those, we're going to have to look back. We're going to have to look back and look deep into our hearts. I believe that I can provide a new voice, a fresh voice, with unspoken ideas in Montgomery. One of the keys we see here around the square are small businesses. Well, that's who I hope to empower, because I believe statistics show that small businesses create 70 to 80% of new jobs. That's who we have to empower. Today, and we have high unemployment. On Friday, it came out that in Alabama, we've rose to 11% unemployment. Here in Clay County, we're at 16%. Randolph County, it's at 17%. Chambers County, it's at 18%. We have to do what is the most effective manner, and that is strengthening these small, locally owned businesses. Now, if Kelly would let me have a theme song, it would be that Alan Jackson country song, It's All Right to Be a Little Bitty. And it is. It's all right to be small. You don't have to be too big to fail to get help from the government, to get help from Montgomery. In the Roman Republic, in ancient times, they had a senate like ours. In fact, we model ours after theirs. Well, in addition to the senators, they also had an office called the tribune. And the Tribune, his entire job was to protect the ordinary citizens, the little people. And so I will model my representation after that. I will be the Tribune for the working people, for the small businesses and the family farms. I believe we have to empower, once again, and recreate within the working class, the poor, to turn them into an investor's class. 1 in 3 Americans have less than $10,000 of total assets. And that's an incredible statistic. We have to return to them the ability to have wealth-creating assets. One thing that here in our district that we're losing is family farms. In Clay County, from 2002 to 2007, we lost 12% of farmland. In Lee County, they lost 15%. There's only 2 million farmers left in the United States. The average age of those farmers is 60. That generation is going by. If we lose the ability to feed ourselves, we're going to be just like we are with foreign oil, dependent on foreign governments. And we have to empower, to train, and to inspire the next generation of young farmers to come along. Lastly is education. Education is the great eradicator of poverty. Now, in our football programs, at Alabama, Auburn, we are not satisfied if we are not national championship caliber year in and year out. And we put every resource. We allow our schools to buy the best coaches.
You're telling the truth, boy.
To hire the best recruiters, and we demand the most commitment from these all-American athletes. The sad part is that we don't expect the same commitment of our schools, and we don't have the same expectations. We are 48th and 49th usually in education in the United States. And the United States usually falls about 24 to 25 in the world's rankings behind Slovenia and Czechoslovakia. We have to once again dedicate ourselves to having a world-class, or dare I say, a national championship caliber education system. And in my opinion, that is going to be driven by small, local community schools. The smaller the school, the better. And so I will seek to have these schools back in our smaller communities. Well, my question for you is, I do believe that we can make change. I know I'm a little idealistic, more than a little. But I still believe that there can be William Wilberforces of the world. William Wilberforce has almost single-handedly brought down the British slave trade. I still believe that there can be Daniels and Josephs of the world. People of low beginnings that can be lifted up to make a difference and to rock nations and states. I believe that there still can be Gideons that come from the lowest and smallest of beginnings to rise and save their people. Do you believe that?
Yes.
Well, it's my prayer that God would use me in those efforts. So in the words of the poet T.S. Eliot, where the bricks are falling, we will build with a new stone. Where the walls are rotten, we will kick in and construct with a new timber. Where truth is unspoken, we will declare it from the rooftops. There is work together to be done and a job for each. So I call each of you, myself, to work. For next November, we, the ordinary people, the nobodies in Montgomery's eyes, can repossess the halls of Montgomery. Thank you very much.